Anthem has officially shut down as of January 12th, 2026. This title, maligned by fans expecting something different, flamed by online communities fatigued by live service games, and bemoaned by critics for a boring and repetitive gameplay loop, has finally entered into its permanent slumber. As an online-only title, everything in this game, all of the work done by the developers to build out the environments, enemy encounters, design suits, write the story, craft the music, it's all gone. Forever. As a massive BioWare fan, I couldn't allow myself to go on without at least playing some of this game before the server sunset. So in 2026, I played Anthem before it shut down to see if this game really deserved to be closed off forever as one of the worst games of all time, or if there was something here that others didn't see. There had to be some reason why this game stayed online for almost 7 years, right? What was it that kept a small niche of players coming back and keeping this game kicking for as long as it did? In this video, I'll be showing you Anthem in its final days. I'll start by showing you the beginnings of the game from the introduction to the tutorial, breaking down how the game was played on a moment-to-moment basis, and reflecting upon my experience playing this doomed title. I'm Ashton Lavelle, and this is Anthem. First, it's worth saying that even getting access to a copy of Anthem in late 2025 to early 2026 is sketchy. It's been delisted from practically everywhere: Steam, PlayStation, Xbox. It's not even available on EA's own PC app. The only way to get access to it is to either subscribe to EA Play before August of 2025 and download it, or take a risk by going to one of those aftermarket unused game code selling websites and hope some Nigerian prince somewhere doesn't steal your identity. I did not have an EA Play subscription, nor did I already own the game, so you can guess which option I had to go with. The first thing that crossed my mind when I booted Anthem up was how strong the Destiny vibes were. Something about the high-tech, sci-fi, online-only nature of this opening just screamed, "We're trying to be third-person Destiny" to me. Which, if you know me, that's not exactly a great sign. After getting into the servers and starting our new game, we're given a short cutscene introducing us to the world, a few characters, and dropping us right into the action. Anthem takes place in a world called Coda. We play as a freelancer, basically a mercenary who takes on contracts and attempts to protect the world from dangerous monsters using these Iron Man suits called exosuits. We are a rookie taking on our first mission with a group of veteran freelancers as we head into what is called the Heart of Rage, with the goal of deactivating the Cenotaph, an ancient relic with enormous power. However, we fail, with most of the other freelancers on the mission falling in battle. The result is a cataclysm, causing all sorts of chaos throughout the world. We pick back up years later as our character has now settled in a place called Fort Tarsus, where the freelancers are attempting to re-establish faith in their abilities and put an end to the dangers out in the world. At this point, we create our character, and our choices are underwhelming. I discussed in my Mass Effect Andromeda video, check it out if you haven't already, that I found customization options to be very bare bones. Anthem seems to take that criticism and lean even further into it. You're only able to choose between a handful of pre-made characters. You can't change anything about them. Their eyes, their skin color, their hair or hair color, their facial hair, nothing. If you don't particularly like any of the options here, well, too bad. Honestly, it reeks of the kind of thing you'd see in a modern Madden or NCAA game, rather than a game from the legendary RPG studio BioWare. Honestly, I'm not sure why they even bothered letting you do this in the first place. You never see your character anyway. When you're exploring around the hub area, you're always in first person, and while taking on missions, you're always in your suit. At no point is your character's appearance necessary, so why even give the option? It's as though they wanted to be sure it still had some staples of BioWare games without actually committing to them. Practically every BioWare game lets you customize your character, so Anthem should too, even if it's extremely limited and effectively pointless. This leads to one of the biggest issues I had with Anthem: the illusion of choice. BioWare is a company built on games with strong narratives and impactful choices. Every instance of dialogue requires a choice and feels important, like you are in the driver's seat, steering the story as you see fit. Anthem pretends to do this. Every dialogue you have with someone in the hub world gives you opportunities to pick one of two options, which usually equate to agree with person or disagree with person, but in an agreeable way. That's it. No matter what you choose, the result tends to be about the same either way, making the act of choosing itself feel hollow. Later in the story, we unlock factions and can see some dialogue options do seem to increase your rating with each faction, but it's never really explained all that well, and it feels like you're kind of just rolling the dice. And honestly, I don't really care about increasing or decreasing my rating with each faction anyway, because nothing in this game is interesting from a narrative point of view. The factions are basic and boring, the story is forgettable and lacks intrigue, and the characters, the most important part of any BioWare game, are awful. Every single one is either such a cliche caricature or is so wacky that it grates on your nerves. It was as if the writing team felt like the only way to make interesting characters was to make sure they each had a little quirk or some whimsical behavior. We've got a janitor who takes his job way too seriously, Bryn, an agent of one of the factions who doesn't know how to talk to people, Owen, a hyperactive companion who's always butting his head into places he doesn't belong and never stops making awkward jokes, Tassin, the rough and tough spy who plays no games, Yarrow, an old retired freelance who loves to talk about the good old days. This one guy's entire thing is just that he's lucky. Or this armor salesman whose entire thing is thunder and lightning.
When you want to make a statement, maybe polish that javelin up with a nice coat of pain and thunder. Come see me. Then it pointed to the sky, and the thunder answered. That thunderclap, we felt it. Why I do what I do. I sell the thunder.
How's the thunder business?
Good.
My god, is there not one normal person in this entire world? Even walking around to talk to these NPCs is a drag because for some unknown reason, BioWare decided it'd be a great idea if you walked at the speed of a snail in the hub world. This is especially jarring if you've just come off a mission where your suit can fly around and boost at high speeds and where the action is frenetic and fast-paced. It makes no sense. And the writing, oh my god, the writing. When you're taking on missions, you'll constantly be talking to people through comms. Sometimes it's someone like Owen or Yarrow, and sometimes it's your AI companion. The back and forth you and the AI have is just atrocious. It tries really hard to be funny with your AI making satirical jokes and being sarcastic, while your main character rattles off quip after quip during battle. But it's not charming, and makes me wish my main character was just a silent protagonist.
What's all this? Got me. Painful looking? This road's never been mapped. I've lost flight control. I'm trying to reset, hang on. Oh, good. It's just water. Owen, controls restored. You're back. Shaper energy's still increasing. It's just a warm-up, prelude to a cataclysm. Doesn't feel like a warm-up. Oh, and fun wrinkle, more companies on the way. The fragment's in. Now the others. Keep at it and you'll survive this. Almost certainly. What's happening in there? There's something. That's teeth. Lots of them. Hurry! How many teeth? Size is the real problem. What's that mean? Large! Considerable. Just get a move on! You know, I heard a relic made a guy vanish into thin air once. No idea where he went. Which isn't as lucky as the freelancer whose guts were turned inside out. But how's that lucky? At least he died and got it over with. This is a pain. They all are. Indecipherable puzzles that only make sense to shapers. No, I mean there's ice jamming it up. We're out of time. Silence it. I'm trying to. Well, nobody told him. It's an R6. It's not working. I'll bring it back into it. Got it. Well, at least now I've got a new story. That time a relic spawned a giant Ursix that almost ate you whole. Yeah. Classic for the ages.
Thankfully, the fast-paced action saves Anthem from being a complete dumpster fire. Combat is incredible. You get the choice to pick between 4 classes of exosuit: Storm, Ranger, Colossus, and Interceptor. Each has its own sleek design, personality, and combat style. I chose Storm because I thought flying around shooting lightning bolts at enemies sounded fun as heck, and it was. Floating around, casting fireballs, freezing enemies in their tracks, summoning lightning from the heavens, it was flashy, satisfying, and felt powerful. Shooting felt good. Not nearly as good as something like Destiny, but it felt impactful enough to where it didn't feel like I was firing off a Nerf gun. Combat reminded me of an even more offensive-focused Andromeda, which at first may sound like an insult because Andromeda is not good, but in reality it's a compliment. One of the things Andromeda did well was combat, and it seems Anthem builds on that here. Because your mech suits can fly and hover, you get wide visibility on the battlefield. You have tons of tools at your disposal, and it feels great flying around and taking out hordes of enemies like a one-man army. It helps that the exosuits do look sick, and have tons of customization options so you can make yours unique and really shine. I guess that Thunder and Lightning guy had a point, huh? The entire game is gorgeous as well. Each area you explore is massive and looks stunning as you soar around it through the skies. The accompanying music isn't too shabby either. it fits the sci-fi vibe they were going for, even if it wasn't particularly memorable. Unfortunately, as good as combat is and as pretty as the world is, the things you're fighting and what you're doing in this wide open world leave a lot to be desired. Anthem was maligned for having a lack of interesting content upon launch, and 7 years later, that criticism still holds up. A majority of your missions fall into one of two categories. Either A, go from point A to point B, fight waves of enemies, rinse and repeat, or B, go from point A to point B, fight waves of enemies, and also collect something that was clearly intended for multiple people to complete, rinse and repeat. Yeah, I know this game was meant to be played with others, and I get that, but some of these missions you can do are such a slog if you don't have a buddy, which in 2026 is kinda hard to do. For example, there are missions where you have to collect these light orb things and take them to a specific spot. Collect enough of them and boom, mission complete. The problem is, sometimes you need to collect a lot of them, and you as a player can only ever hold 3 at a time. So, if you're playing solo, you can imagine how tedious it is to fly around, collect 3 orbs, fly back, rinse and repeat. Especially while enemies spawn, slowing your progress, and oftentimes, the orbs are spread really far apart, clearly intending for a squad of players to split up for maximum efficiency. As it stands right now, Anthem lacks the player base for you to consistently have others help you in these missions, so you're usually on your own. I mean, as of right now, the game's dead, so I mean, just look how long it takes to matchmake with somebody before it gives up because it can't find anybody. I did run into a grand total of 3 other players during my time with Anthem. The first time, someone joined in during one of my story missions, helped me take out a wave of enemies, flew to the next area, and then just kinda stopped moving. Forever. The next time, I was flying around the overworld and ran into this fella who politely waved to me before jetting off on his own as if to be polite, but still making it clear that they wanted nothing to do with me. Later, I saw the same guy moving around on the map with his own buddy. Looks like I wasn't cool enough for the club. I can see the vision here. Imagine going into the free roam mode, flying around these massive and gorgeous locales, seeing random events pop up here and there, and then spotting a squad of fellow freelancers charging in to assist before blasting off in their own directions afterward. I can see how that dynamic multiplayer experience could have taken off. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances of Anthem's launch, this reality has become an unachievable dream. As it stands, my journey in Anthem ended when I reached a sort of wall. I had to enter free roam to find these shrines in order to progress the story. To unlock them, you have to complete certain challenges such as defeat a certain number of enemies with melee attacks, loot a certain number of treasure chests, and the 2 objectives that really walled me off, revive a certain number of fellow players, and complete a certain number of specific world events. Reviving would require me to, well, play missions with other players and revive them, which, as we've established, is kind of hard to do nowadays. The other can only be accomplished when a world event occurs in the free roam mode once in every who knows how long. In my entire roughly 10 hours playing Anthem, I only ever saw 2. The first I failed because I saw it late, and the second I was able to accomplish solo. I continued to fly around after another 15 minutes and never found another one. With time running out and other videos to make, I decided that this would have to be where my Anthem experience ended. Alone, in an empty world, never again to be played by another human being. That's the saddest thing about Anthem. Is it a good game? No. Is it the worst game ever made? Definitely not. There are flashes of greatness here, and despite its disastrous launch, corporate meddling from EA, and the incessant need for live service games in the modern age, it's still sad to see so much hard work, good work, done by the developers at BioWare be erased with the flip of a switch. 7 years players have had to fight hordes of enemies, customize their own special exosuit, explore the gorgeous landscapes of this world, listen to the music, and see the game they love change before their very eyes. I played this during the end of 2025 and into the beginning of 2026, meaning there were holiday decorations, holiday suits in the shop, and Christmas-themed music. This tree was decorated by the developers specifically as a way of adding holiday joy to this living world. And now, I'm one of the last people on Earth to have seen it in the game. Now, all that work is gone, never to be seen again. Like, just look at all these names on the leaderboards, and all of these people who are still posting on the Anthem subreddit. These people still love the game and clearly have a lot invested in it. Regardless of how you feel personally about Anthem, you can still feel sad that these people have now lost a game that they cared about. Anthem was a bad idea during a really bad time. 2019 was a time when live service games were already oversaturated, and the fever pitch against them was at its height. It didn't help matters that BioWare's previous title, Mass Effect Andromeda, disappointed, meaning it had been at least 5 years since BioWare's last solid single-player RPG. Anthem was not the game fans wanted, and it certainly doesn't seem like the game BioWare wanted to make. But it's the game we got. Is it the worst BioWare game? Probably. But is it the dumpster fire that people online would have you believe? No. It's a flawed game, with genuine bright spots that, if released in another time and with more care, might have actually become something. As it stands, it may go down in history as the game that single-handedly killed BioWare's reputation as an RPG juggernaut. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this look back at the infamous Anthem, make sure to subscribe. I've covered some of BioWare's most infamous and worst games with Andromeda and Anthem, and now it may be time to look at some of their best. You'll want to be here when I do. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.